Celsius Holdings bypassed the moon and now has its sights set on Mars. Is it just me, or is the energy drinks market getting even more interesting than it has been? Similar to a lot of the other earnings breakdown pieces of content that I create, I will be utilizing the conference call, the earnings report, any associated publicly disclosed information, or anything that I can kind of scrape from the internet that would be useful to you guys, not only to explain what is happening inside Celsius Holdings, but more importantly, use that as a backdrop to talk about broader energy, beverage, categorical, and strategic market insight. So let's start at some revenue numbers. In 2021, quarter one, revenue of Celsius Holdings was $50 million. This was up 78% year over year, and it was up 40% sequentially on a quarter over quarter basis. North America made up $39 million of that business. That was up 101% year over year. The international business made up the other 11 million. That was up 25% year over year. Just to give a little bit more context to the international number, the Asian markets were up strong. This is where they have a joint venture. They also expanded distribution in Saudi Arabia and Kuwait, but this was offset by COVID lockdowns in the European markets and their fast product line having some out of stock issues as well during the quarter. If you are a little bit confused on the introduction, the term like to the moon, it has a lot of different meanings, but what I'm talking about with the energy beverages market is that Celsius Holdings went past the elusive $100 million a year in sales mark that was done without any large national distribution partner. One of the 5 large beverage portfolios. They also do not have any active ownership from those large 5 beverage portfolios as well. So just them being able to get to $100 million as quote unquote an independent company is a huge feat. But now they have a $200 million run rate. So they rocketed right past the moon, and they have more interest in Mars, if I'm continuing the analogy. Now, from the cost side of the business, their gross profit margin was 41.1%. This was down 500 basis points, so pretty significant. This is coming from increased input costs associated with the global aluminum shortages in terms of the cans. They also had some increased repack fees, also increases in freight costs and processing costs from the realignment of some of their co-packers' volume. Want to give a little bit of a retail and distribution update. I will take a zoomed out approach first and then zoom in on a few of the particular channels that I think are extremely important. Celsius Holdings products are available in 92,000 locations. That is up another 10,000 since the last reported quarter. They're projecting they're going to hit over 100,000 locations by the summer. Celsius also has now 180 DSD distributors. It covers about 85% of all of the large metro areas in the United States. And this DSD network drove the distribution revenue up 172% year over year. According to recent Nielsen IQ data for the period ending April 24th, 2021, Celsius Holdings saw a growth rate over the last 4 weeks of just over 220% year over year. If we pull this back towards the last 13 weeks, their growth rate was 151.4%, outpacing the categorical growth by 5 times. The company now has 1.2% market share in the energy drink category. As I mentioned, I want to zoom in on a few of their particular channels. The first one is the digital channel. You guys hear me talk about it all the time, but digital is the next frontier of retail, and having a long-term integrated retail plan needs to be centered around the digital channel. And Celsius Holdings has been actually extremely strong strong in the digital channel over the last several years. And in this last quarter, they saw growth of 79% year over year across all e-commerce. Now we look at this just from an Amazon perspective. According to some Stackline data, the last 4 weeks ending April 17th of 2021, Celsius Holdings saw growth of 265% year over year. This is outpacing the categorical average on Amazon.com. And with this growth rate, Celsius actually bypassed Red Bull as the number 2 best-selling energy drink brand on Amazon. It is only behind Monster Energy. They have 15.5% of the category on Amazon, which this is really the most levelest playing field for a brand like Celsius because they're not working with legacy business models around DSD systems and things like that. So this is really telling to future success of Celsius Holdings. Now, looking at this from outside of the United States, Celsius also has been leaning in on the Amazon International platforms as well and has leveraged Amazon Europe to increase their distribution across that region. The second channel that I want to talk about is the fitness channel. And prior to the pandemic, that was the largest single channel of Celsius Holdings, but it now only accounts for about 10% of their total revenue, though it did grow 33% year over year in this past quarter. Now, there's 2 ways to look at this trend. The first way is that Celsius Holdings has done a really good job at evolving its brand from a niche fitness player to a more mainstream, viable energy drink brand. They were able to grab a ton of placements and see a bunch of sales velocity across the more mature, larger channels. And since the fitness channel has a much smaller total addressable market for the category, who cares if they have less of their business going through the fitness channel, right? The second way to look at this is that Celsius Holdings needs the fitness channel. It really provides the foundation of influence for Celsius Holdings that they need to be rooted to their current positioning of being a clean energy, performance energy drink brand. If it loses its identity with its initial core fitness channel customers, they risk losing upward influence-driven demand in its other larger channels. And now finally, I want to talk about kind of the granddaddy of them all, the convenience channel. And if any energy drink brand ever wants to make any material impact on the market, they need to be effective in the convenience channel currently. It makes up somewhere around 70% of all sales of energy drinks. So if you're not able to be successful in the convenience channel, you're not going to have much of a large brand that has huge ambitions. The latest SPINS data shows that Celsius has seen a 77% growth in the convenience channel, and this is compared to about 7.5% growth of the categorical average. So you could see that Celsius is getting traction in the largest, most important channel in the energy drinks market, one that they have kind of struggled in for a while. They've been strong in a lot of other channels, but convenience has really been something that they've struggled with. But they have been able to add 13,500 convenience store locations to their store network in the last 12 months, and they expect to see more of them during the spring resets. One example is that Murphy USA, about 1,500 locations, will be stocking, I think, 6 SKUs of Celsius Holdings. Since I'm talking about product, I want to give a little bit of the product development pipeline. This summer's vibes will be tropical compared to last year's peach. This will be the major flavor launch on the energy beverage side, with nationwide 7-Eleven locations currently having them in stock. I want to touch on just like the powders business. It's still immaterial in terms of what the impact to the top line revenue, but it is becoming a more important part of the business as you're seeing some supply constraints from the aluminum cans. They're also getting some more attention from retailers and customers. So Celsius does have a plan to extend into a lot more flavors. They also plan on looking at the heat line extension and powderizing that business as well, which I think could potentially be an interesting play. Additionally, Celsius previously announced that they're going to bring over their Funk Food Group the Fast brand of functional foods, functional beverages that they have within the Nordic or European regions over to the US. They're going to initially launch this on Amazon only in the next couple of weeks. They're going to have 2 SKUs initially and really wait to see feedback and scale from that point. Just want to end on some final thoughts. Celsius Holdings has really proved over the last 15 months that they can hang with the big guys in the energy drinks market. It has been able to strengthen its distribution system and has also been able to increase its market awareness. And I think these two things combined really provides them a good case to take more incremental market share away from these larger players. What's next will be definitely interesting for Celsius Holdings. I think projected organic sales for 2021 could be somewhere in line with 225 million to 250 million. You throw in some of those things with the Fast functional foods and maybe some functional beverages. But I still think Celsius Holdings is at a crossroads that could see themselves ready for the sales side of an M&A transaction. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you want to help support me, make sure you guys hit that thumbs up button on this video. If this is the first time you've been introduced to my videos, would love for you guys to be a part of my community by subscribing to my channel. I upload several videos just like this weekly. And if you guys want to connect further outside of this platform, I do include all of my social media links down below. I just want to thank you guys again for your time. Hopefully I gave you some value in return, and we'll see you guys on the next video.